Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to everybody. It is 8 p.m. Welcome, Ellen and LSN Mod Squad. Excuse me. It is your boy Louis back on the Louis Sports Network, hitting you back with another heavy hitter banger with yet another video. And as you guys would like to do, look into the corner of your thumbnail. It says to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you're sharing the content. Make sure you're sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. So it is 8 p.m. Can't wait to get started on this. We are talking protests versus riots. What is going on? And definitely going to get everybody's opinion on this topic that's currently going on with obviously the death of George Floyd has caused a raucous, not just here nationally within the 50 states, but also around the world. People around the world have also started to protest as well. So make sure you smash the like button once again. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're sharing this on your social media outlets as you guys come in. So just waiting for people to come in. Like I said, this is definitely not for the weak at heart. This is not for kids. So I'm just letting you know right now. And let me know who is in here in the chat. As soon as we get some people in here, we're definitely going to get started. So again, smash the like button and hit that subscribe button as you guys come in for the Louis Sports Network. We are trying to serve justice, and we're trying to want to hear some minds as to what people think about what's going on currently, how are people doing, and want to know how everybody's doing tonight and how's everybody holding up with this issue going on. So there's a lot of people definitely that have been outspoken. We know what's going on with looting. It's definitely been crazy out here in these streets. Again, smash the like, hit that subscribe as you guys come in. We're talking about the difference between the protests and the riots and basically all of the events that have led us to this point in this present time. The issue that's been going on currently in this time has been the difference between people who are trying to protest for a cause, and that's for death of a person who was turning his life around, lost his ability to breathe, died instantly on the scene, and it was reported that he died later on, which is absolutely false. And once again, hopefully we could get more people. Like I said, I have to change the settings because, again, this is not for the weak of heart. This is to get everybody's personal opinions on the subject matter, the difference between a protest and a riot. Again, smash the like button and continue to hit the subscribe button, man. Wow, it's a 9 p.m. curfew in St. Louis. It's an 8 p.m. curfew right now in New York. Last night they did 11 o'clock and that didn't work out. Shout out to Juanetta. Shout out to Karam here in the building. Nice to see you. By mess, what don't you get? Shout out to Kid Man, for saying that he will share the video on Twitter. Appreciate that. Yeah, I have seen people speak their minds. I actually wanted to talk about an NBA player in particular who's been actually getting a lot of positive feedback on his leadership. And that player is Jaylen Brown. Shout out to 6 for 200 in here. That player is Jaylen Brown, folks. So when Jaylen Brown found out about this, he has been speaking out, and not only has he been speaking out, but he came out and he drove 15 miles from his car to Atlanta to lead the charge in the protests. And let me just read an article from him. Malcolm Brogdon, yeah, him as well too. And both players are actually part of the Players Association. Both players. This was crazy. So going into the article, yes, Master like described. So the Boston Celtics forward Jaylen Brown, he's been one of the more outspoken athletes on social media as of late. So not only is he using social media as a platform to not only voice his opinion, but he's been active on top of that. So not only did he talk the talk, but he walked the walk too. He was demanding justice for the recent death of George Floyd at the hands of the Minnesota police. He didn't stop there. As a Celtics stud, he drove 15 hours to Atlanta to lead a peaceful protest in the city, which earned him heaps of praise from a number of his colleagues in the league. Yeah, many players have been speaking out, but he's been raised. Yeah, exactly what Winetta said. He's been raised that way, so he's just leading by example. He leads by example. And Josh Hart actually said, he gave props to Jaylen Brown for his effort. So he tweets, "Much love to FCHWPO." He said, "The kid is special. Everyone has a voice. Let us use him." It's true. You could go on and on. That's facts. Uh, it says Celtics insider Chris Grenham described the scenes on the ground and detailed how Brown handled the rally and several other. And what was impressive about him is that he was just telling people to go home, after they peacefully protested, to be safe, and then everybody go home. He said several of the protests in other cities turned into looting, and for his part, Brown made sure that this was not going to be the case in Atlanta. So what he put, so he says Jaylen Brown told the crowd in front of him to disperse, which obviously means to go home, be safe, following the peaceful protests. And she added that Jaylen created an environment that allowed productive conversations and discussions among the group. So if they're productive discussions and conversations, you could tell he did well. So then you got the Indiana Pacers guard, Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon, who is from Atlanta, smash the like, hit the subscribe. He joined Jaylen Brown in the protest. He joined them in the protest, and he was basically saying, he even shared a powerful message about his grandfather joining the Martin Luther King Jr. march, because he said that he was there in Washington. He said, "I got a grandfather who marched next to Dr. King in the 60s. He was amazing, and he would be proud to see us all here." He added, "Jaylen, man, he has led the charge, acting like a true leader. I'm proud of him, and we need more leaders." And that was on his Instagram form. And then it says Jaylen had earned a lot of respect of his peers. One says Jaylen is real with his, it's just not tweets. Exactly. He said, "I was watching some of it on this morning. James Dolan made some comments." Yeah, I heard about what he said. I'll get to him in a second. The admiration went beyond what the Celtics swingman can do on the basketball court, but more importantly, the moves he's making to affect the change in our society. The OG, Isaiah Thomas, came out and said he's proud of this young man and his tweet. Hashtag police brutality. Floyd was murdered. I can't breathe. Twitter.com, ball is life. Leading the charge in I Can't Breathe, he led a organized peaceful protest. LaKendrick Perkins, he says Jaylen was already becoming one of my favorite players on the court, but to be this young and intelligent and leading during this crazy time, he just became one of my favorite people. Keep up the great youngin'. You know what's crazy? When I listen to Kendrick Perkins talk, not only did Jaylen Brown voice his opinion on social media, he went out and led the charge like a leader should. You got Trevor Graham. He says, "Appreciate for standing up as a leader." Jared Dudley, he believes it. He says he has all the attributes you need to be a future president of our union one day. This young brother is smart, intellectual, engaging, and as a player, a future all-star. So look what Jaylen Brown says that really stuck out with me, folks. This is what he says. He says, being a celebrity, being an NBA player doesn't exclude me from no conversations at all. We're raising awareness for some of the injustices that we've been seeing. It's not okay. And even Clutch Points, shout out to Nathaniel. He says we also have to send praise in Brown's direction. From ClutchPoints.com, even giving him praise. A lot of NBA stars have voiced their anger towards the social injustices that have recently murdered the nation, but the Celtics' youngster has taken his leadership to another level. Boston has a special player on its hands, and Jaylen Brown both on and off the court. That's crazy. And as I change the thumbnail, shout out to Nathaniel in there. From what I heard, not just Malcolm Brogdon, but Dennis Smith Jr. and also Tobias Harris have also been leading protests. Jaylen Brown gets the biggest win of the day. And it's unbelievable that a young man of his age, and he even said that he's not all-knowing, but the fact that he said that he wanted to be the spokesperson and lead the charge down in Atlanta just shows you, the type of person he is. And, my salutes go off to him. And Karam was talking about James Dolan, and I heard about what James Dolan said. So we're going to go into what a protest means, what a riot means, and what looting means. And then after that, we're going to get into James Dolan's comments. And then obviously we're going to get back into the protests and riots, what's going on. So I want to get people's reaction to what everything is going on, obviously with the curfew. What is a protest? To express an objection to what someone has said or done. Verb. Noun. Statement or action expressing disapproval of or objection to something. What are people objecting with this protest? The fact that a black man got his life taken away in George Floyd, when his neck was pinned to the ground with a knee by a police officer. Yeah, Cat was there, and I think also Cat was there when Stephen Jackson has spoke about Floyd's death. Stephen Jackson was there. I think he was there with him. Karam says that Cat was there at the protest and think what he's going through of his mother. I tell people all the time, think about what he's going through. Lost his mom. He's had a really difficult couple of months. Another thing, to declare something firmly and emphatically in the face of stated or implied doubt or in response to an accusation. That is what a protest is. And looking at what Jaylen Brown did, his was peaceful. He had a peaceful protest. Nothing lame about it at all. Nothing crazy. He said it wasn't even going to get into looting, and he did it as a leader. Major respect. Major respect. That's all it is. Twitter fingers ain't going to cut it, especially if you're one of the NBA, if you're an NBA millionaire. You make millions of dollars. You should be speaking out. Now let's look at the riot. What's the difference between this and a riot? Let's look at the definition of a riot. A riot is nothing but a violent disturbance of the peace. It's an impressively large display of something. And in this case, it's a large display of people. A large display of people. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. What's going on here is that where you have people with different agendas. You have people peacefully protesting, and you have rioters and looters that are making peaceful protesters look really bad. All of a sudden, their purpose gets defeated for what they're doing this for. To be honest with you, I don't know. It's crazy because the voting system is just it's strange, Quran, just for the fact that I don't know if voting is really going to change things. It really should. My question is, who's going to make that change in the government? Because the government is not going to change it. If they're in power, what's going to cause them to change their power? Winetta says Atlanta has a lot of black-owned businesses. Let me tell you something. Here in New York, there was a lot of vandalization going on. And I felt bad for a lot of people who own small businesses. And I'm just talking about blacks. I'm talking about all kinds of people. They work so hard to have businesses, but people want to riot for the sake of rioting. And I keep saying that there's some people out here that are rioting as an excuse to loot. It's not for Floyd. And that's what I'm noticing about the justice for Floyd. It's not even about Floyd. It's about what can I get away with using the name of a person that's dead. It's not even about Floyd, which is very sad. People are protesting because they want their voices to be heard. They're sick and tired of all this discrimination, all of these stereotypes, all of these lynchings, all of these killings. People just want to live their lives. People want to come together and stand by one, treat each other like people, and help make change. It's not just blacks, man. Other people. There was an 81-year-old man who I saw on TV that a bunch of people came, they vandalized, they broke into his store, they looted all of the things out of his store, including his money. And guess what? The only income that he was thriving on, he doesn't have it anymore. And I kept asking myself, how stupid can people really get now that they're just doing that now just for the sake of burning stores down? And my thing is that people are doing this as an opportunity. You know what? You know what's crazy well, let me just get to the conversation real quick. This is why I got upset at Andrew Cuomo today. He says burning the community. Well, 6 for 200 says exactly. People work too hard for their business. Exactly. Quran says burning the community down and stealing stuff from stores is just unacceptable. It is. It is. And you know what's really crazy? As I continue, I don't think you should loot because the issues with the police and the government. Exactly. And the thing is, when you're looting, you're giving the government an excuse to look good. They're the ones that are the problem. So is law enforcement. But people acting a fool out here, what example are you setting for the government? They're just looking at it as I get to wipe my hands clean and I get to look good. See, you're giving us a reason to bring out militia. You're giving us a reason to bring out the National Guard. Is that what you really want? And I think of these other countries like France. I look at Spain being the racist country that it is. They painted a mural for Floyd when I know how they are about dark skinned people. I look at London and what's going on over there. All of a sudden, France in Paris, they started rioting too. And I said, I feel like everybody used the opportunity of of a black man death, as in to get attention, to claim that you want justice. And I'm getting mad at these anarchists too, because that's the other issue too. It's these anarchists. Because yesterday, these people were rolling in so deep. Like where I'm at, it was pretty quiet. There was nothing going on throughout the day. Andrew Cuomo decides to set a curfew at 11 o'clock, and truth and behold, a lot of chaos begins to happen. You got a lot of affiliate groups around the area. People can't even walk. People started to vandalize stores around the block. And people have to think about this way. You give police even more reason to even now do their work, and now they got to be up till 5 a.m. forcing people to go home. And I'm gonna say this right now. I have issues with police, but the thing is, you're not making it any better once police have to now obviously force people to go home. And obviously that's their job, and they have to patrol. I was watching something today, and I saw in New York, they were showing Fordham Road. Fordham Road was completely vandalized from the west to the east, including Jimmy Jazz, Foot Locker, uh, what was it, Claire's, like all the stores. I saw Best Buy. The windows were broken, and people who were in there looting, jumping out the windows, and the crazy was a lot of groups were coming in cars. They were coming in cars. Yeah, believe it or not, believe it or not, 6 for 200. And the thing is, store owners are losing jobs because of this. But I got mad at Cuomo because he's trying to open business. I said, you have to get looting under control in order for that to happen. And people have already lost their ability to make money because of the only business that they have, they don't have it anymore as of right now. Do you know how much compensatory damages that people got that has to be paid in order to do all these repairs? And then all those people who have to clean up what the looters started, they're so damn selfish that they obviously thinking about themselves. Give me 1 second. Um, 6 for 200 says the people in Louisville talk about going to protest like they're going to a party. If other countries want to help protect protests at the U.S. embassies and cut the trade with the U.S. until the systems change, that's a good idea and that's a good start. That's a really good start. I actually like that idea, Winona. I feel you on that. I really wish people would, but it's really outrageous what's going on out here. It's going so bad that it's making people afraid to even want to step outside because they have to worry. Now, because of what Andrew Cuomo saw last night, and I said, why would you put protesting at 11? I mean, I'm sorry, not protesting. Why would you put a curfew at 11 o'clock? I said, well, what's going on? And this started in Brooklyn. It was all over Manhattan, still going on in Manhattan. And now, it made its way up to the Bronx. It's crazy in the Bronx. Just, just a lot of messes right now. And it's sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's just really, really, really sad. And now we're going to get to loot. When you loot, you steal goods during a war or a riot. And the thing is, the looting and the rioting have taken away the peaceful protest. You have people casually walking on the street while looting is going on. And it's like some people don't even like pay attention. Some people don't really care. I've heard a lot of ignorant people make comments. I've had people come and they say, you know, I don't really care. Like I don't really care about this, man. I want my sports back. I'm like, let's say you take a step outside and let's say you don't make it back home. Is sports gonna worry about you? Are you gonna be able to worry about your sports? No, because your life, that's pretty much your life, man. The question is, the thing that's so crazy about this whole thing is that people in the past, with the police brutality that's been going on for years, what I still don't understand is You're not helping the police in any way. And there's some people, it's funny because I've actually seen some people, some police started to kneel. A part of me thought that I think that that was for me, it was part of for the police to try to be in support of the people, like try to get on the try to get on the people's side after what happened. Some people say that, oh no, they're really not doing that. They're just doing it for attention. Quite honestly, it just really depends. It really depends on what the agenda is at that time. These people right here, man. I mean, there's some cops who really just have this propensity to be able to talk. See, this is who I blame. Yeah, it's a very selective outrage. I agree. I agree 100%. It's all selective. It's all selective. That's why I continue to say that it is all for, I mean, just look, TikTok had 2 billion views. TikTok had 2 billion views over the protests and the riots. Just plenty of stories going on outside. Plenty. Notice that they didn't burn down the food stamp office either. Yep. I stopped believing in peaceful protests. Just don't target small business owners. You know, if people want a peaceful protest, I have no issue with that. That's not a problem. The only question is that, and I understand Jaylen Brown. I like the display of leadership he showed. The only thing that I'm not going to ask is that what I wonder if people are really going to listen, especially when you're looking at who our president is. He already called them a bunch of thugs. This is who I blame. I blame uncivilized people who decide to use a black man's death for attention. I blame the police who don't know how to speak to people and use excessive force without without using without using proper procedure on handling situations. And to be honest with you, they just tend to target people anytime because of stereotypes. And it always comes that police target people due to stereotypes, and it's something that they've been trained, and it's something that they've been really ignorant about. And it's not every single cop. It's not every single cop. It's not every single cop. Now, Karam says, if Kobe was still alive, what do you think he should have done? That's difficult to say because you know what it is? There's a lot of people who, when it comes to these celebrities, they will say, they'll praise the celebrity for doing something certain, an athlete, and other people will just hate on it. I don't know what Kobe should do. What I will say is that if you're going to say something in social media, you have to be able to support it by, what are you going to do in terms of action? What are you going to do to be active? Do you have to go to the extreme? No, but at least, because here's the thing, these athletes and celebrities, they have the resources. The problem is some celebrities are phony in the fact that they follow what other celebrities do. And if you look at Jaylen Brown is not making millions of dollars like that. He doesn't have a big contract. He's not crazy rich. The question I have is, what are the rich athletes going to do? Are they going to be activists and take action? Because some of them they're staying inside closed doors. I mean, look at the praise that Jaylen Brown has gotten from a lot of these people. And then we got certain people who just tweet, 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 tweet. And some people were like, well, I appreciate what, this person is doing because he's speaking out. It's easy to speak out behind the computer. It's easy to speak out behind the phone. But what Jaylen Brown did, the man drove 15 miles from Boston all the way down south, and he led a peaceful protest. Now, I don't know what's going to result from that peaceful protest because, like when Netta and she says she stopped believing in peaceful protest, and 6'2" 200 says, now what does that mean? Does the peaceful protest mean anything's going to happen? No. Change is going to have to be by force, but we can't do it by looting, though. That just gives these people the reason to not want to force change. Players in the league are trying to help the community. Yeah. And again, it's not just about talking, it's about, taking the action. Even if it has to be peaceful, and even if you're going to do something by force, again, let it not be affecting other businesses, because other businesses, I'm sorry, don't have to see with that. Like, that's really messed up. Do you think England would have gave up the US if there was a peaceful protest? Good question. Good question. That's a very good question, Winetta. Let me say this. Would have they given up if there was a peaceful protest? I think so. And here's why. Because the minute that it started to happen, they follow suit. See, everybody's in it. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody wants to be Malcolm X. Everybody wants to go with what hot. What's trending? Because remember, this death made worldwide news. So because it made worldwide news, guess what? It was a great opportunity. And it's funny that protesting happens and then people decide to loot in their own country off of something that happened in America. Usually something like this is national news, but it got world news. Why? Now, why do you think that a death like this got worldwide news? When deaths like this are very difficult for people to even pay attention to within our own communities. We're killing one another. That's what the government wants. We're killing one another. But Cuomo has the nerve to put a curfew at 11 o'clock, and because of what happened, then he decided to put it to 8. Him, de Blasio, and Trump fighting over each other as to who's the chief and who's the Indians. When a time that we should be coming together and be trying to solve issues that are within this country, but yet we continue to distract each other. And I ask you, what is this all about, folks? This is about money. This is about the economy. This is not about the people. And I hate to say it, but George Floyd was sacrificed for economy. So what other options do people have? You have to beat a bully by bullying him, like Tyson Fury said about Wilder. Well, one of the things that I would start doing is I would actually start setting my own society, to be honest with you. And I think about the circle, and your circle has to be with people who actually believe in change and believe in equality. That's what you have to believe in. Because one thing, if there's one thing I learned, for some reason people are so ignorant, you're not going to be able to convince everybody. That's just the way the world works. I see. I see. I can respect that. I can respect that. I can respect that one, Anna. Like I said, it's truly, truly crazy in these NBA streets. I said NBA streets. Apologies. In these streets, it's really crazy. I will say this. I think there's a part of. I also could see England wanting a part of America. I could see that too. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for the Lewis Sports Network. The issue I'm also having is I'm looking at this young lady right here, and I'm talking about the youth. The youth is another issue that I'm having. You have young kids at home seeing what these anarchists and lutists are doing out here in these streets. destroying cars, destroying property, stealing from people's businesses, breaking windows, taking everything. And the crazy part is in New York City, it happened so fast. These people came out of nowhere so fast. I don't even know where these people came from. They came so fast. A lot of them in groups, a lot of them affiliated, and just causing crazy chaos. It's already bad enough that due to quarantine, it's got people going crazy. It's bad enough because of that. It's a lot worse now that you might not even be able to step outside because you got to worry about your life. You have to look. You have to look. You have to look. Keep your eyes. You gotta have eyes in the back of your head. You gotta look both ways. You gotta look back. You gotta look forward. It's like you can't even focus going forward. You have to pretty much look everywhere because you don't know where that danger is lurking. Because what's happening is because of the looting, they're not going to pay attention to the protests. They're not going to pay attention to that. So I keep asking Donald Trump that he's calling people who are protesting thugs. Are you talking about the looters or are you talking about the protesters? Are you talking about the rioters? Who are you talking about? Like it was to the point that people even tried to focus on the astronauts that were in NASA flying on a rocket to the moon. And with all due respect to them, that they flew 19 hours on in a space shuttle. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of more important things going on, and that's injustice for people. To be honest with you, in order for all lives to matter, and they all do, Black lives have got to matter first. In order for all lives to matter, Black lives have got to matter first. Because we're dehumanizing Black people. We don't look at them as people with value. We don't look at them as people with value. That's how people who are very discriminatory towards Blacks look at them. And it's disgusting. Yeah, and I keep wondering that about Trump. It's like he keeps talking about the people, but he doesn't even want to talk about the police force. How about the police force be properly trained on how to handle situations, how to properly talk to people, unless, unless they're doing something and unless they're choosing not to comply, when you are given, orders or you're given instructions, whatever guidelines they are. It's crazy how Colin Kaepernick is looking right now. He's looking real good. Because I remember with Colin Kaepernick, he did a protest and he kneeled, and that cost him being retired out of the NFL because NFL owners were upset that they were costing them millions. And I said, look at that. They immediately thought about the money. They didn't even think about the reason he put his knee down. My question also is, why haven't NFL players also doing protests? Because I really haven't heard. If anybody tells me that an NFL player has started protests, then I'll be fine with that. But I haven't seen really any NFL players. Maybe there's some people who have spoken on social media, but I'm saying NFL players who have been active and like been speaking out. Because I keep going back to saying that the NFL is like a slave plantation. The NFL is about the owners. It's not about the players. The owners come first before the players. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. And make sure you guys are ready for we're gonna talk about Jordan and LeBron next. Some dudes are like, this is really not the time, but some people are still talking about him regardless. So I'm like, when is ever not a good time to talk about these guys? It's crazy. So we got a 9:45 meet for that one. And make sure you guys pull up for that because this is actually going to be a continuation, but it's just going to be through these guys. So make sure you guys pull up for that as well. Louis, they have been trained. They just choose not to put it into action because it contradicts their agenda. Well, that's what I'm talking about by training. You're supposed to show the training. You're supposed to show the training that they actually show you or want to do. That's why I said properly, because I'm pretty sure they train those guys properly. They just don't, they just choose not to show what they were properly trained to do. So I'm sorry if I didn't word that correctly, but that's what I'm talking about by properly trained. They have the training done. They just choose to do what they feel like is the best course of action because it doesn't fit their agenda. When they purposely bother people, when they look for issues because they just happen to feel like it because they happen to be bored, people are burning buildings, burning sides of the block, burning stores. Floyd's brother came out and was even talking about this is what we shouldn't be doing. But then it kind of goes back to what 6 Foot said. What options do we have? And I say, start your own society. The circle that you have of people, you make sure that they're the right people, people that are for the common good, people that are about justice, people that are about fairness, people that are about treating other people fairly. That's the kind of people you need to have around you. And the people who choose not to do that, that's on them. I mean, there's been, this is the year of clear vision, ladies and gentlemen. 2020 eyesight, clear vision. Shout out to Jermaine. Appreciate it. Shout out to Jermaine in the building. And a happy birthday to Ron. Hope his birthday was success. Was great. You can want to say successful. I hope his birthday went well. So shout out to Ron. But yeah, man. But yeah, folks. I just honestly think that we really need to, like I said, I feel like one of the things that we could do is honestly start our own society because this society for some, and the thing is, there are good people out there. There's good people out there, but I just find it so convenient that all these looters just came out of left field, all driving in cars. Because when I think about this whole thing, I feel like this whole thing was a stage. Because the minute he dies, everybody starts acting out. Then everybody starts to follow. It's just really weird. Just really weird. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, we're talking about Jordan and LeBron. And I said that they're the two most protected superstars in NBA history. And part of it has to do with what's going on right now. So make sure you pull up for that. But anyway, man, continue to smash the like button and continue to subscribe and continue to share. Winetta says the police chief in Texas said that they've had more recent training because of all the other recent protests, but it's just going in one ear and out the other. It's a lot of white nationalist police. Agreed. Yep. Yep. Let me put that comment up again so people can understand what Winetta just said. The police chief in Texas said they have had more recent training because of all the other recent protests, but it's just going in one ear and out the other. It's a lot of white nationalist police. And because they're white nationalist police, you think people are going to take them seriously because how did the man that just passed away die? He was a black man, and who was he killed by? A white cop. The thing is, the white nationalists are going to have to do some convincing to convince people that they're displaying the proper training that they were trained at. But once again, Winetta makes a great point. Did you know? I don't know if you guys know this. There was a story out. I forgot where this person was, but there was a person from the Sudan, right? Two police cops approached him. I forgot what it was for. They tried to arrest him, but you know what they didn't realize? They didn't realize he worked for the FBI. I forgot what the conversation was about. When I was reading the caption, it said Sudanese FBI agent. I said, and I said that this once again goes back to what Netta's comment about in one ear and out the other. You know why? Because too many people are always just quick to respond without listening. And they didn't even realize that that man worked for the FBI and he's Sudanese. A lot of people don't try to ask questions. A lot of people don't try to get to understand. They just respond. They just respond. Then it causes misconception. People are perceived, they have a preconceived notion of someone without even really trying to get to understand them. I saw that and I'm like, wow. They tried to arrest him and they didn't even know he worked for the FBI. Shout out to Jermaine. He says, man, this stuff is sad. The world is getting worse. I watched the whole footage today of Floyd for the first time and it's devastating to see that. You know, it's good and bad that we had to see that image. Bad because social media decided to create a lot of views for people just to get attention, for a lot of people who put it on social media. And I'm wondering what their captions are like. But at the same time, this is good because this also lets you know that this is something you cannot ignore, ladies and gentlemen. This is real. This is real life. Some people were talking about, oh, he had a criminal, he had a criminal history and all that. I said, but he was turning his life around. You didn't hear that part? Steven Jackson was saying it. He was turning his life around. So instead of the good that we could have seen George Floyd do, we focused on the bad. There's a couple of footages out there if you type YouTube, man. Unfortunately, I saw the thing because it's like I was getting notifications from different YouTube channels on, what happened. I heard him say the words. I heard him. It was painful to watch and it was painful to hear. It was paining me to see him in such agony and it was just hard to watch. Just hearing him say, I can't breathe. That was hard. We keep talking about how miseducated and how misguided the youth is. We have young teenagers and we have young adults and we have adults out here acting a fool. What kind of example are you telling to your young children by acting like this? You have young kids at home watching this on TV. I can't tell you the amount of kids that I've seen they're scared to death. Some kids are smart enough to say, well, if I don't know why I get in trouble because look, I see adults acting like that. Why can't I act like that? Especially the ones that have diagnoses of ADHD, autism, things like that. There were people in Minnesota who were advocating telling him to get off. But I felt like police. The thing is, though, it's kind of difficult because I felt like the police were going to start a war anyway. Those policemen are much worse because they stood there and did nothing. And this is what I was talking about with the code. You don't break the code. That's in that case, that's what that was. I'm telling you, there are good cops that can't speak their mind because if they do, bad cops are looking at them as they're traitors. Because remember, this is supposed to be this is supposed to be a quote unquote brotherhood. When you're in the police force, it's supposed to be a brotherhood. And the sisters that are in there too. That's what this is supposed to be about. The adults are the reason that there's almost no hope in the youth. This is just a terrible job that people have done setting an example. It's terrible. Another thing, children not uh there's children not properly being raised. I mean, I know everybody has a different story, but I think, yep, exactly. Cervical. Yep. And like I said, all lives are not gonna matter until Black Lives Matter. Sometimes I look and it's like yo, it's like you're ashamed to kind of like be sometimes part of a community or ashamed to even be a human being sometimes looking at this, man. Yeah, there was one that I saw that was like 7 minutes and 58 seconds. I didn't see the whole thing. It's just because I just didn't want to watch that from start to finish, just because I just didn't want to see him say the words "I can't breathe" again, because that was just hard for me to watch, just really hard. I have an issue with Cuomo, and I have an issue with De Blasio, and I have an issue with Trump. All of these guys are trying to be the chief, but then want to act like Indians when times get really hard. Cuomo's talking about business. Cuomo keeps saying that people need to act in accordance and need to act smart, but he keeps talking about business. He keeps talking about business. Donald Trump keeps talking about the economy, and I said that this is what this is all about. People are looting to resell to make money. This is going to be an excuse for the rich. Do they not realize that? This is an excuse for the rich people. And it's like it's crazy that these dudes who are looting out here and choosing to riot because they want to get attention on social media and on television. And I also got to blame the news media, man, because they lie on a lot of reports too. Some of them I understand, but it's like some of them are just, again, everybody. This is all about economy and whose agenda could be pushed more further than the other. Yeah, he was calling for his mom. I heard exactly when he said it. I feel so bad for his family. That's just inhumane to do. There's no excuse for that. It's one thing if you were doing self-defense, but the man was handcuffed. He was frisked to the ground, and you put your neck on him. You cannot give me a reason. And surveillance shows that he did not resist arrest. There's absolutely no excuse for that. No excuse. You know, as controversial as this stuff is, man, people really need to pay attention out here. I think so too, another, because his eyes were open and he kind of looked in a certain direction. So it made me think about he probably maybe saw. 6 foot says, I don't understand why people start to riot after he died when they could have saved his life in real time. That's just cowardly to me. In a sense, they probably could have. They probably could have. So I think what you're basically saying, I think what you're saying, I think if more people would have pressed up on the police because there were four of them that were surrounding Floyd, had they kind of put the pressure on them, they probably would have backed up because they would have been more focused on pushing the people away. That would have given Floyd, an opportunity to still be alive. A shout out to Jay in the building. Like, what is this country turning to, man? I just don't like I don't like the way that this country's looking right now. It's scary. Like, I care about the good people out there. I wish I could help. I wish we could help the homeless, because the homeless also, I mean, people also have to remember that we're very high in poverty. Homeless get to roam the streets ever since quarantine happened. The other issue that I have is there's just some people that are choosing not to speak out, that are choosing not to speak out and are choosing not to be active. The problem is that people are asking for change, but there's people that just don't want to speak out. Why are you going to ask for change if you're not going to speak out on it? If you're not willing to be part of the cause? And the reason that I do these videos, man, is I want to give an opportunity for people to speak. Like I said, people could easily be going crazy right now, and there are people that are right now in insanity right now. I think of all those poor business people. People could say what they want, but the bottom line is that you mess with their money for no reason. They have to run a business. They have to run a business, and you decide to take their income away. I personally know a person. I have a friend who has a small pharmacy run by his mom. The looters vandalized that, and you know what happened? She lost her business. I felt so bad for him. He's a close friend of mine. His mom owns the pharmacy shop, and she lost it. And you have to ask yourself, why are looters vandalizing pharmacy? Vitamins, drugs. Why are they looting the banks? Money. Why are they looting sneaker stores? To resell. What do you do with sneakers? You resell them. When you get them brand new, you resell them at a higher price. And what I don't like is that people would rather put this on social media than take action. The first thought is, let me get this on the news to see how many people are going to pay attention. There was a kid last night who I saw on TV, on social media. He was recording everything that was happening in the Bronx and Fordham. He noticed that there were 15,000 people watching currently at the moment. And I was like, he was getting all excited and hype. And I'm like, dude, you're worried about how many people are watching? Like, you should be home protecting yourself. Or if you were going to do something about it, do something. And then finally he decided to run when the danger started to come closer to him. And I agree with you, 6 foot. It's selective outrage. That's what's really sad about this whole ordeal. This is all selective outrage. The question I have is, and shout out to Undisputed Records. I feel like this is why I felt like it was a stage to begin with. And I was saying this, and shout out to Undisputed Records for that. I was saying this in the beginning. I really feel like that this was a setup because the minute that this happened, an outrage immediately happened. It immediately happened. Every country that decided to protest, quote unquote protest, but are looting in their own country that has nothing to do with them, all of a sudden it happened. Yo, facts. And that's what's so scary. And shout out to Undisputed Records for mentioning that. He says right here, man, second wave is going to be more dangerous. They might tell us to stand 10 meters apart because remember, during quarantine, they've been saying, 4 to 6 feet distance apart. So why are there so many large gatherings if this COVID is supposed to be that serious, right? Hmm? No doubt, Undisputed, you deserve it, man. You deserve it because you're speaking the truth, man. There's just a lot of times these channels out here they don't want to talk the truth. And shout out to Brandon for the year 1842. Social collateralism. No, it's good. I'm glad you're sharing the knowledge, man, and I appreciate it. No, people really need to understand out here, man. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And I keep telling people, man, 2020, I told you, this is hindsight, aka clear vision. We're gonna see what this world is really all about. You're gonna see, man. We all do. That's facts. Agreed. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't, man, make sure to smash the like button and hit the subscribe button for the Louis Sports Network. I want to thank Flat Earth Dinosaurs. Because remember, we believed at one point that the earth was flat. Shout out to Brandon and Undisputed Records for coming in and sharing those little facts right there. So this is what I'm telling people, that I honestly think that we need to really have set our own society. I mean, I've been seeing videos where they're even saying that with what's going on, especially like a lot of things that are happening in the East Coast, they're telling you to move, man. Telling you to move. Go somewhere where you can have a safe life. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what is safe? This is where you got to do your research. You got to do your research. Now, unfortunately for people, they don't really want to do their research out here. Winetta says the only thing laughed at Lutz was a horse. He stole from the police. Wow, he stole a. Yo, I didn't see that. That happened today, Winetta? Did that happen today? Yo, if that's the case, man, yo. Oh man, they went as far as stealing horses out here. Yo, I gotta tell you, man. Let me ask you this question, y'all. If looting is not working, if riots are not working, if peaceful protests are not working, what should be done? If none of these things are working, what should be done? You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Why is it that the government owns 75% of the land in America? Can we answer the question in that chat? How come the government owns 75% in America? And I told you that this is an excuse for the rich. Expect them taxes to increase. Oh, it's a war if you steal a policeman's horse. You steal the police's horse? I'm telling you what Trump is doing this for, man. This is all about war. This is all about war. This is a prelude to war. This is all about war. You're on the track. You're on the right track, Brandon. You were on the right track when you mentioned about a confederation. So I definitely agree with that. I think the start would be a confederation. And by the way, when it comes to this presidency, I'm really sick and tired of how Almighty Wash was on the set. Exactly. I'm fearing, yo, this could possibly be a World War III. I know Trump is trying to engage in war with China. You know, he's blaming them for COVID. I'm sorry, man, but this two-party system is another reason why this country is in the shape that it's in too. Voting polls have been rigged to put the right person in office. I know people have been talking about saying, "Oh, I agree with you, Jay. They need to change the standards of police hire. They need to really change their rules on what kind of police they're supposed to have in their force and go back to what Netta says. They've been properly trained, man. They just use their tactics for their agenda. And if it doesn't fit their agenda, blue versus red. Remember, man, that was a symbol of the Union versus the Confederacy, if I remember correctly. I agree with you, Jay. Speaking facts, Brandon, we need to get rid of it. We need a new political party, man. I've been saying that for the longest. And that's why, to me, voting to me isn't going to matter until we change the political system. Until we change the political system, voting isn't going to really matter. It's not going to matter because, again, they it took forever for them to finally say we're going to change the electoral college vote. Are you kidding me? How many presidents have we had? Trump is 45th president. This is another issue that I have with certain blacks as well. Some of them do these things to get attention from the white man too. They're looking to get attention from white supremacists, and I'm like, by you doing that, you're disrespecting your own kind by doing that. Oh no, undisputed. I took a picture on what you said, bro. I took a picture, and here's the beauty. Here's the beauty of YouTube. Once the stream is over, you can catch the replay, and when you catch the replay, all of these are gonna show up. All these are gonna show up. Like if you look at it on your laptop, and it's like if I miss it, I could catch it again. But I made sure to take a picture of what you just said. I remember that. I remember. And I've said this for the longest time, ladies and gentlemen. We need, we do not need celebrities and we do not need business people running our country. They are about entertainment and they are about money. They are not about the people. They never have been about the people and they never will be about the people. They've never been about the people. What doesn't help is people going against people. And shout out to Brandon McKenzie for subscribing to the channel. I truly appreciate that because you and Undisputed, you guys came in spitting major facts. And it shows me that you guys have a lot of intellect and you guys have a lot of knowledge. And it shows that you guys do your research and you guys know what you're talking about. I appreciate that. You know what? Thank you for mentioning Jason Whitlock, the coon, as I like to call him, because he's one of the people that sold out to his own people just to get a paycheck. He sold out on his brothers, quote unquote. He wants to act like that he's for the cause, but he's not. He's another person that's trendy in what's going to make money. So he thinks by mentioning something, they're like, well, Jason, he doesn't necessarily agree with you, but just listen to some of the stuff he says, man. And what did Jason Whitlock get for selling out? He didn't agree with some of the views by Colin Kaepernick. He didn't agree with some of the views by LeBron James. What happened? His two, listen, man, his little chia pet, hair growing toupee, chrome dome head, fat ass boy got fired. And I'm glad he's not on TV anymore. This got nothing to do with Jason personally. The problem is he made it personal by the way he conducted himself on TV in terms of the comments he made. Stephen A. Smith better watch out because he next. Stephen A. Smith better watch out. He next. I don't even watch Speak for Yourself. And Watchful News says, I can't understand why so many people who are not desired. Oh no, I'm gonna get on him next. 6 for 200. Let's believe I'm gonna get on him next in the video that's coming up. Can't understand why so many people who are not desired continue to lap at the establishment's feet. And that's my biggest issue. There's no desire. And my thing is, your attention to desire is for the wrong reasons. Like your energy is focused on getting attention from establishment, not going against what they're supposed to be doing. Oh, Stephen A. Guess what? Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee, got himself fired. Stephen A. criticized him like crazy. Max Kellerman, no, Winetta, you are not wrong at all. Nope, you're not wrong. And that's why I'm going to get on LeBron in the next video. Some people are going to feel offended about that, but I'm telling you, it's like if people really pay attention to what's going on, I'm telling you. Brandon, again, speaking the truth. People who support Trump, they don't want to come to terms. And it's a lot of the people in the South who voted for Trump. Lynching still exists in 2020, and I've said this before. Racism has been publicized in so many different ways. Racism has never really gone away. It's never gone away. It's existed and it still exists today. It's never gone away. There wasn't a moment where, well, there was little bit of racism. No, you experience racism every single day. It's been happening every single year for as long as racism has been existing on this planet. They just find different ways to publicize it. And now with social media, it's gotten worse because now we spread on social media for views what is going on in all of these states. Shout out to Osidon. He says the Democrat Party of slavery, KKK, Jim Crow, segregation, FDRP, Japanese internment camp, all the internment camps. Oh my God. Eugenics plan and the voted against women's rights continuing the terror. Bingo. The next video is going to be at around 9:45. I might push it to 10. I'm sorry, man. And it's like, I agree, Jay. He was always the sellout. Undisputed says a very good documentary on YouTube is Pharmaceutical Thugs. Please watch it to understand the game. I will check that out. And thank you for mentioning the video. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Juanetta, going back to you, you're not wrong. Jason Whitlock has always been a sellout. Always been a sellout. And I said, and let me continue what I was saying with about Stephen A. This dude, he's another coon too. I've heard people in the comment section going, Stephen A carrying ESPN this and carrying that. See, I would show Stephen A appreciation if he would stop flip-flopping with his comments, because this dude keeps acting all pro-black, and I'm sorry, he ain't a pro-black. He liberal. He's a liberal. Oh, sure, man, no doubt. If you definitely subscribe Undisputed, if you happen to come on when I do one of these other topics, I will definitely, if you would like to be on in the future, I would definitely invite you to come on and, speak your mind, and you can spread, you can spread awareness, man, to what you're talking about and spread knowledge around the channel. Listen, I would love to have you on. Seriously. You subscribe to the channel and you make sure you get the notification and you see one of these videos again, I definitely will have you on, and then, we could definitely talk about that. So, and thank you for being here, and thank you for spreading your knowledge. Same with Brandon, and same with Osidian. Let me see the name of it. Pharmaceutical Thugs. I'm gonna write that down and I'm gonna make sure I watch that. Let me see. Pharmaceutical Thugs. Got it. Because the problem is people really need to start paying attention to this stuff, man. The problem is if you look at the media, it's related to social cataclysm in healthcare. Nice. All right, perfect. If you look at the media, these guys are playing chess. The government is playing chess. They got the police force playing chess. Life is a game of chess, folks. It's about who's going to outsmart the other and win and get checkmate. Right now, the public has been checkmated because they're so worried about destroying their own people in the communities, creating violence, and not looking at the reason that this violence even started in the first place. and it's media in the news for lying about George Floyd's death. It's about the government, and it's about the police force. And shout out to Undisputed Records for being here. No doubt, respect. Jay says many people say not all white cops are a problem. I've never been approached by a white cop since high school without a gun pointed to my head. Really? Really? I've had my issues with white cops. I've had issues with Irish cops. This is where the Bible's gonna come in handy. The Bible says, "Gather yourself together, O nation not desired." Let me continue reading in a second. Just give me 1 second, folks. When is black folk gonna realize it's them who God is talking about? Preach, preach. And I'm saying, this is what's crazy. This is why I feel like that this is where I said that starting a personal society comes into play, because you start to bring a society. Maybe it's not the correct answer, but it's somewhere to start. And it's kind of like what Pete was saying when I had him on as a guest. You got to start somewhere. I think having a society of positive people could be the definite start of something. Then we have to get into the police and make sure that we need to change the policies on how to become a police cop, how to become a police officer. I agree with Jay. And then going back to what Netta said, we need to start looking at how they need to start displaying the proper training that you learned in police academies. Not the training, not the type of force and the type because you feel like it, because you wear a badge and you wear a uniform and you're armed and you get to ride in a police car and you get to ride in a police van and you get to patrol because you got your nice hat and because you're part of the law. And the thing is, some people in the police force want to excess. They think that they have excessive power. So yeah, am I saying a cop's job is not easy? No. But in the same token, you can't just abuse your power because you feel like it. There was a bomb outside of the school when I was a sophomore. They lowered the standards frequently to become cops, basically saying that pretty much anybody can become a cop. And that's not good. That's not good. And I love how the government is basically saying that people are not being smart. And they're right. To an extent, they're right. Oh yeah, of course, 6 foot 200. And that's what I'm saying. This happens with athletes, and this happens with celebrities too. And I continue to say that they have the platform, and they also, because they use the platform all the time. But a lot of them, they just choose not to get involved in this stuff. They have riches, they have resources, not even a little bit of small contributions. And it's the ones that are really, really, really rich that I can't stand. And like I said, you thought that the poor had it bad. Look at the people who don't have a business right now. It's going to be worse on them. And this is only going to help the rich get richer. I think of now higher taxes too, because of the money that's been lost. Yeah, the power definitely goes to people's heads. They take advantage of the fact of where they are, and then it's like, oh, I'm part of the law, so now it makes me feel strong and stuff. So is this situation similar to the Hitler Germany situation? Maybe not at the level of What do you guys think? You think that this situation is kind of similar though? Yeah, I'm more for the MPs more than the regular police. There's some similarities, man, to the Hitler situation. There is some. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe. Let me get to James Dolan and the comments he made. And this is what this James Dolan is a perfect example of why the Knicks need to sell the team. And I think Adam Silver needs to come in and force him to sell the team. Let me see if I can get. I hate when this keyboard gives me issues. Wow, look at that. James Dolan vehemently condemns racism to follow up email to MSG employees. Look at that. He told employees that they're not more qualified to offer their opinion on social matters. Look at that. This dude thinks like a white supremacist, bro. And Undisputed says, I hate to say it, man, but I think this is planned to last almost 10 to 15 years, and it's designed to cause total annihilation of all. I hate to say it. And the thing is, I don't try to get into conspiracy just because of what my channel's all about, but I wouldn't be surprised, man. Trust me. There's a lot of videos that are out on YouTube that are saying the same sentiments you are, so I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Adam could do the same thing he did to Donald Sterling. So Undisputed, you're speaking the truth because, like I said, I've already seen videos where they talked about this. They talked about it, and the reason that I'm just doing it is because, and this is why I'm saying that, I need to begin to start your own society, man, because my desire is to bring about a positive society and make sure that you have positive people around you. Build your groups little by little, man. You start yourself as a minority and then try to turn yourself into a majority. Slowly but surely. It's a very sick world, man. We need to look out for our own people. We really do. And it's like we need to educate our kids at home. And I wish there was a way that we can help kids that are just on the streets, man, dealing with peer pressure that are forcing them to take drugs and following them to, following the wrong influence. And I learned this. During your adolescent years are actually your most crucial time before you enter adulthood, especially if you're in high school about to go into college, especially if you're pursuing a college dream. Now, do you have to do that? No. But I think it's important that your parents are like there and they're helping you and pushing you to be the best person you can be because, during that time, I mean, obviously you need your parents, obviously, through when you grow up, but during adolescent years is very, very, very crucial because a lot of things are changing in your life when you're going from the start of, even when you're going to middle school all the way to through the end of high school, you're going through a lot of changes in your life. A lot. It's a very sick world, man. Because you know why? And I agree with 6 for 200 on this. If you're not a person who thinks like a capitalist, you would be right. But there's people who think like capitalists, man, and look out for that. In a capitalistic world, it's not real. It's not realistic. It's not realistic. But again, it depends on what your mindset is. Are you going to give into a capitalist mindset, or are you going to be worried about what can you do personally, to make not just your situation, but the people around you better, especially if the people around you are willing to be a part of that change with you. That's why I always say there's the difference between subscribers and supporters, man, because subscribers, they come and go, but supporters, they're with you all the way. And that's what it is. You need people that are going to be part of your support. And that's why it's important to have a support group. Like everybody has different opinions, but the thing is they're down for the same cause, and it's like everybody respects one another and they believe, in their cause. But this is why I continue to say that 2020 is this is going to be, we're going to see what this world is really like, and we're starting to see it. Exactly. There you are. Black folks need to have our own lottery. 12% of the population are USA's biggest consumer, but no one can show me one black community in America after 450 years. So let me get back to James Dolan real quick. So he said yesterday he made all of a sudden that he says that the company condemns racism against anyone. And he says, I know how important this topic is to so many, and I do not want there to be any confusion about where I am as an individual or we as a company stand. Notice how he said him and his company. So he put himself first and then he put his company second. I remember Rachel Nichols today where she was talking about people protesting with the NBA players. She said statements aren't going to fix the cause. Statements aren't going to fix the cause. She said that, and then she talked about how the NBA is a top tier business. Hey, isn't that what James Dolan talking about? He talked about him and his business at Madison Square Garden. His business comes before people, and he doesn't really care about people. He would buy people. What a capitalist mindset. See? And he continues, so let me be clear. We vehemently condemn and reject racism against anyone, period. Most NBA teams made public statements condemning racism in the days of following George Floyd's death on May 25th in Minneapolis. Floyd, who was a black man, was killed after a white police officer kneeled on his neck for more than 8 minutes. I believe it was 10 minutes to be exact. And he had stopped breathing, I believe, around, was it 5 to 6 minutes? So the Knicks and the Spurs have not put out statements, though Greg Popovich has been a steady voice for social change in recent years, including a recent interview with The Nation. In his email Monday, Dolan said some employees asked whether our company was going to make a public statement about the killing of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. Look at that. A dude from Minneapolis came to James Dolan and asked him if he was going to make a statement. Since the email was made public, the Knicks and Dolan have faced backlash, with further confusion brewing after the team's official Instagram account posted to its feed a black square with the hashtags Blackout Tuesday and NBA Together. Blackout Tuesday started in the music industry, but became a viral attempt to show solidarity within the Black Lives Matter movement. My point yesterday was about actions and the importance of living your values. At Madison Square Garden, we have worked hard to build an environment of inclusion and mutual respect, and those are the values we try to live every day. I want to take this email and just shove it up his ass just for saying that crap. That's a bunch of crap. Racism is born of ignorance, and it's really, what an oxymoron coming from a guy like you. Funny, but aren't the majority of the players on your team black? Just a thought, James Dolan. Aren't you a white owner? Just a thought. Just a thought. Just a thought. And it's up to each of us to understand the person working beside you is your equal without regard to color or any of the other qualities that make us diverse. And any injustice to one person is an injustice to everyone. But you see, you focused on Madison Square Garden. You weren't talking about people. You cannot trust the media. You can't trust the media. And he says, I agree totally. Armies ain't built on just weapons, though. That's true. That's true. That is true. And capitalism plays a huge part in war, in the military. How do you think people fund for the military? Bam. Dirk was saying after the 2011 NBA Finals that making the All-Star games and scoring is all fun, but when it comes to a certain age, you've seen it all, and the only thing he plays for is that ring. I mean, what was the saying by Bill Cartwright? When you first get into the league, you're about individual goals. As your years go on, and you realize that the most important thing is the team, and that winning a championship is the ultimate goal. Bill Cartwright said that in the 1991 championship video of the Chicago Bulls. The media, I can't trust. Oh, I've been saying that for the longest. You can't trust it. I don't know if Floyd is an agent or if he really died, and then the news put it all over so they could create problems. This is why this is what's so crazy. I really feel like that this whole thing was a setup and it's staged. That's what I'm having a real hard time with. You know what's crazy? Undisputed, and people have been talking about the ones that really don't care about his death. They've been talking about how much he's a criminal. They've only been talking about his past and his criminal record. And they're like, oh, you got to look it up. If he had passed away, then my thoughts are with his family. But when the royal family is raping young girls, man, where's the protest? Yeah, you know what's so crazy though? Also, there's other issues that we have that they can't. It's like all of a sudden the government is supposed and the media are supposed to be the most powerful entity, but they still don't know how to deal with domestic abuse. They don't know how to deal with rape. For some reason, they don't know how to deal with these issues, and they make quick acts of judgment without really understanding the probable cause. They find the reason for probable cause, but no, it's a setup. It's a setup. They really got people believing out here, man. It's a setup. This is why I continue to say, in my personal opinion, I feel like this is all just acts. It's an act. And I've been saying, I keep saying it. I don't believe Steven Jackson's faking. Nah, I think he's sounds sincere in what he's saying. I think he is. I mean, he personally knew him. So, and at the very least, he didn't just come out on social media. He came to Minnesota to address. And I saw Carl Anthony Towns there. Watchful News says America has never dealt in equality. Facts. Shout out to Josh the GOAT. He says it is a setup, man, just like this COVID-19 hoax. Yep. I'm not saying people have died from it, but the problem is that take a look at it this way. Why are there social gatherings if there's been so many of this, so many of these deaths? Remember, I thought some of these numbers weren't real. Some of these numbers are not real. I look at some of these numbers out here, they're not real. I feel like it got to the point where people just were really connecting everything to it. And it's like, I just don't think that that's true. I don't think that that's the case. So I keep saying, like, what is going on that people just are not understanding? And we live in a very sad and we live in a very cruel world. We're killing our own kind of people. They want us divided, people. That is the ultimate goal of the government. When they seem to look at people in a social group as a threat, they use law enforcement along with their government militia power to divide us. And the clueless ones, the blind witnesses of the masses, have been blinded by their agenda. And what the blind witnesses fail to understand is you're not hurting the government. You're hurting innocent people and you're hurting your own selves. I'm gonna say part of it is true, Jay. You know why? Because they've been connecting some of the deaths have been connected to that, and they've just added it to the numbers. I'm not saying that people haven't passed away from it. That's true. I've had people personally pass away from it. I'm just saying, and there's people who currently have it. That's true. But I think what they're doing is even people who are not dying from that, they're connecting all those numbers together to that. And again, you have to ask yourself, how can a death cause so much gathering when we're supposed to be practicing social distancing? That's the part I don't understand. And I feel like this is a sign of things to come. That's the problem I'm having with this whole thing. So I'm not saying that I don't agree with you because, yeah, people are dying. But at the same time, there's deaths that are not even related to that and they're connecting it to it. Some of the numbers are not even that real. And the thing was, I was adamant and saying, look how many people are, dying this and this and this and this. And then I started to do my research and then I started to realize that although that is true, and I'm not saying that it's not, people are dying from this, but at the same time, they're connecting deaths that have nothing to do with it to that. And that's why the numbers seem to me much larger than what they really are. And like I said, Trump is just about his money and he's he's all about starting a war. That's what this is all about. Justice for Floyd is not justice for Floyd. This is to create division. This is to create division within our own community, have us fight each other. That gives Trump's more supporters so that no one is a threat to take him out of office. That's why Trump says the things that he says, because he knows that the people that really don't have a mind are going to listen to him. That's why Trump says these things. And I told you, the government knows how to manipulate the public. Same thing with the news media. They know how to manipulate the public. So just like it's people's fault, you must have infrastructure, the ability to have goods and services transported throughout your community. Being a self-sufficient community will give you strength with sustainability. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for, and thank you for bringing that up, Watchful News. This is why I said that being a self-sufficient community, and this is why I said start your own, you can really start to build infrastructure. You can really start to have infrastructure. So as long as we have infrastructure, you're going to be sustainable, and it's going to be for the betterment of not just you, but for the people around you. So that's why I say start your own society. If people want to join the society because they believe in living peacefully and having an infrastructure, they're thinking about financial stability, sustainability, strength. And Jay says in NY and LA, numbers should skyrocket soon. If not, then there's an issue, which is why I'm telling you, if they don't skyrocket, the thing is, if they do or they don't, there's going to be an issue regardless, though. There's going to be an issue regardless, though. If it goes up or not, there's going to be an issue. Trust me. Undisputed says maybe hand out leaflets and have a small neighborhood watch. Don't want crime going up around the hood. I mean, I like that thinking because it's at least a start. It's a start. The problem is the crime rate went up. They used somebody to increase crime. Somebody was used as the stage to increase crime rate. So at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, what is this really about? What is this really about? I mean, it is really ugly out here. Fortunately, right now where I'm at, it's quiet. But last night, it was horrible. It was horrible. Never seen so many cars parked around the block like I saw. Unfortunately, as much as that's true, Karam, it's not gonna happen. Every person should be treated that way. It's true. Even if we think different, there shouldn't be mistreatment. But that's the world that we live in. I mean, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Have you heard the word rebuild in the last couple of days? Because I've been hearing that word rebuild a lot. They've been saying that word. They've been saying that word in the news. Rebuild. I keep thinking about that, and I'm like, what do they mean by rebuild? It means something. What do they mean by rebuild? It's just something to think about. Something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. Something to think about. And as a society, we need to be more self-sufficient. Starts out with something small, and I think if we start to do it, I honestly think that things can be start to be a little bit different. Maybe not right away, but just slowly but surely, because we got to start small. With the way things are going on right now, we can't think big right now. Our hoods have foreigners with businesses. They're taking money out of the community, bettering their lives, while we have no business to help and hire our own and not have to go to others. Yeah, yeah. That's what's really upsetting about all this. Why are other people suffering and having misfortunes from other people? Like, it's like it doesn't make any sense. You're stealing money from small businesses, and I'm pretty sure that some of those people that have looted have gone into those businesses, and the businesses have in some way helped them out. But you're stealing from them to better yourself. Then it hurts them. And then what happens when you run out of those items? You can't turn to the business because the business doesn't have anything. You destroyed it. You looted it. So now where's your source of income going to come from? And that's why I'm telling Andrew Cuomo that he better think smart about this. You need to control this situation, all of New York. You need to take control of this situation if there's going to be change. If you want businesses to open up, you need to take control of this situation. Because if not, I'm sorry to say, but it's not looking good right now. And like I said, this is clear vision 2020, hindsight. This is the year of opening our eyes to what's really happening. So my solutions to you, ladies and gentlemen, we got to continue to educate the people that we have in our lives. If we have any small children, small kids, small cousins, make sure to keep them in the right direction. Don't allow them to become part of what's the problem in society. People have gone crazy because they're very brainless and they don't want to pay attention to what's going on. Everything is in one ear and out the other right now. I serve myself. I don't serve people. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. When your kids get to adolescence, man, I wish there was, programs to help the youth and to be able to speak to them and educate them that don't be part of the problem because you make yourself into a statistic. That's what the government and that's what the media wants you, man. I think I saw that book on Amazon. George Orwell, 1984. I'll make sure to take that down. And like I said, even when I'm not all knowing, man, it's good to learn information that, I haven't, gotten a chance to learn from and pretty much gather. And like I said, shout out to Undisputed Records for, you know, coming on my live and, spreading wisdom and knowledge to the channel and to the chat. I mean, you've been speaking facts from the moment you came here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to come back to this conversation with another future video because I'm going to keep doing these. And again, make sure you like the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys are sharing this to social media outlets. Yeah, we need brothers. We need leaders. It's got to start with us. And it's about a big brother society. Got you. But it's got to start with us. We could be those new founder brothers, man. It could start with us. New founder brothers, it could start with us. So I want to thank Brandon for coming in. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Brandon. Thank you for Undisputed Records for coming in. Thank you for Poseidon, putting his point. Shout out to Watchful News, 6'200". Shout out to Winetta. All right, stay safe, my man. Appreciate it, man. Until next time, hope to see you again. And guys, make sure you, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media outlets. Can't stress that enough. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Winetta, to Karam. Now get ready for part 2. Get ready for round 2. We're talking about Jordan and LeBron James. So we're going to basketball now. So the basketball people are going to get in here, and I'm about to get going on both of these dudes. And I'm going to make sure, again, I'm going to keep it as objective as possible. This ain't showing favoritism. This is about truth telling, man, as we do. The people who don't want to hear it, I can't help you out with that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this was good. This was good information. This was great. Appreciate everybody for coming through from the Louis Sports Network. I'll see you on the next video. I have it at 10, but I might push it back a little bit to 10:15. So make sure y'all pull up. Hopefully we get a big crowd for that one. But as always, Louis Sports Network says, bless up, live, laugh, love. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being part of the stream. Be safe, and I'll see y'all at 10:15. Take care, and we will be back with another one of these videos this week. Take care. Salute, everybody. See you in the next one.